The training world of Karen 9 was quiet. Too quiet. This planet was used by the Galactic Alliance as a neutral academy ground. Cadets from many species came here to train together. The air was clean. The sky was pale blue. Tall metal towers stood far apart, surrounded by stone paths and open cafes. Nothing dangerous was supposed to happen here. That was the rule. At the edge of the central plaza, one small cafe remained open. Most cadets had already left for evening drills. Only a few tables were still occupied. At one of those tables sat a human cadet. Her name was Mara Vance. She sat alone, wearing a simple gray academy uniform. No armor, no helmet, no visible weapon. Her brown hair was tied back neatly. Her posture was relaxed, almost lazy. In her right hand, she held a metal cup filled with hot black coffee. Steam rose slowly into the air. At her feet lay her pet. The creature was small, low to the ground, covered in dark fur. Its body looked thin. Its eyes were half closed. It did not growl. It did not move. To anyone watching, it looked weak. Harmless. Mara took a slow sip of coffee and looked out across the plaza. She seemed calm, almost bored. She did not notice, or pretended not to notice, that she was being watched. From the shadows between two tall stone pillars, four alien figures observed her closely. They were Vraxian hunters. Tall, lean, gray-skinned. Their eyes were sharp and cold. Their armor was light, but covered with hunting marks. Each of them carried weapons meant for tracking and killing dangerous prey. They were not supposed to be here. Hunters were not students. They were observers. Or at least, that was what they claimed. One of them clicked his teeth softly, a sign of amusement. "So that is the human," he whispered. Another hunter tilted his head. "That is all. One small female. No armor." They studied her carefully. The human did not scan her surroundings. She did not show fear signs. Her heart rate, visible on their scanners, was slow and steady. That confused them. "Strange," one hunter said. "She should be nervous." "She is pretending to be brave," another replied. "Humans do that." Their eyes moved to the creature at her feet. "That must be a pet." One hunter laughed quietly. "It looks useless." They had heard the stories. Humans were new to the Alliance. Their strength was unknown. Some said humans were dangerous. Others said they were weak and emotional. The Vraxian hunters believed the second story. They believed fear could be tested. Slowly, they stepped out of the shadows. Other cadets noticed them and froze. A few recognized the hunting marks and quickly stood up. Chairs scraped against the ground. Whispers spread. Something was wrong. Mara heard the noise. She did not turn around. She lifted her cup and took another sip of coffee. The hunters walked closer. Their heavy steps echoed across the stone floor. They stopped just a few steps from her table. One of them spoke loudly so everyone could hear. "Human cadet," he said. "Why are you alone?" Mara slowly looked up. Her eyes were calm, clear, focused. "I like quiet places," she replied. Her voice was soft, not weak, just calm. The hunter narrowed his eyes. "Where's your weapon?" he asked. Mara looked down at her coffee cup. "Right here," she said. The hunters laughed. A harsh, ugly sound. Several nearby cadets backed away. Some activated emergency beacons. Others simply ran. The plaza slowly emptied. Mara stayed seated. Her pet remained still. One hunter circled behind her. Another leaned forward, placing a clawed hand on her table. The metal surface bent slightly under the pressure. "You know," the hunter said, "your species is very interesting." "How so?" Mara asked. "You act calm," he said, "but your kind breaks easily." Mara did not answer. She took another sip of coffee. The hunter's smile faded. He did not like being ignored. His gaze dropped to the creature at her feet. "That thing," he said, "is that supposed to protect you?" Mara finally looked at him directly. Her eyes were cold now. "No," she said. "It's my friend." The hunters laughed again. One of them lifted his foot. Nearby cadets gasped. Time seemed to slow. The hunter kicked the pet hard. The small body slid across the stone floor. Silence fell. The pet did not cry out. It did not whimper. It slowly lifted its head. Its eyes opened fully. They were no longer dull. They were watching. Mara set her coffee cup down carefully on the table. Her hands were steady. She stood up at last and turned to face the hunters. Her voice was calm, flat, dangerous. That, she said, was a bad choice. The hunters smiled. They did not understand yet. The pet stood up. The air felt heavy, very heavy. For one short moment, nothing happened. The plaza was silent. No wind, no voices, no movement. The Vraxian hunters stood relaxed. They believed the danger had already passed. The human was alone, unarmed, surrounded. The pet took one step forward. Its body trembled, not from fear but from change. Bones shifted under dark fur. Muscles tightened and grew. The small shape stretched taller, wider, heavier. The ground beneath its claws cracked softly. One hunter frowned. "That thing is growing," he said. Before anyone could react, the pet moved. It did not jump. It vanished. A loud crack echoed through the plaza. The first hunter was lifted off the ground and slammed into a stone pillar. His armor shattered like thin glass. His body hit the floor and did not move again. Blood spread across the white stone. The other hunters froze. Their training told them to run. Their pride told them to fight. They chose wrong. The pet reappeared behind the second hunter. Its jaws closed around his shoulder. There was a sharp sound. The hunter screamed as his arm was torn away. The scream ended quickly. Mara did not move. She stood beside her table, hands relaxed at her sides. Her face showed no shock, no fear, only focus. Energy weapons powered up. Blue light flashed as the remaining hunters fired wildly. The bolts burned holes into walls and tables. None of them hit the pet. It moved faster than their eyes could track. One hunter tried to retreat. He turned to run. The pet caught him in 2 steps. It slammed him into the ground and held him there, claws digging deep into his armor. The hunter cried out, begging in his sharp alien voice. Mara raised her hand slightly. The pet paused. It did not release him. It waited. The last hunter stood frozen, weapon shaking in his hands. His breathing was fast. His confidence was gone. "This is impossible," he whispered. Mara finally spoke. Her voice was calm, but now everyone could hear it clearly. "You came here to hunt," she said. "This is not a hunting world." The hunter swallowed. "Control your creature," he shouted. "This is an academy zone." Mara looked at him. "This," she said, "is not a creature." She stepped forward. The pet stayed still, eyes locked on her. Mara picked up her coffee cup from the table. Some of the liquid had spilled, but most of it remained. She took a slow sip. Around them, alien cadets watched from a distance. Some hid behind walls. Some recorded everything. None dared to come closer. The hunter's weapon fell from his hand. "What are you?" he asked. Mara looked at him for a long moment. Then she answered, "A human cadet." The pet released the trapped hunter and turned slowly toward the last one. Its body was fully changed now. Tall, wide, covered in thick armor-like muscle. Its eyes burned with quiet control, not rage. This was not madness. This was training. The hunter tried to run. He made it 3 steps. The pet moved once. When it stopped, the hunter was on the ground, alive but broken. His armor was crushed. His limbs twisted at wrong angles. Silence returned to the plaza. Slowly, security sirens began to sound in the distance. Mara knelt beside her pet. She placed a hand on its side. "Good," she said softly. The pet lowered its head. Its body slowly shrank. Muscles relaxed. Bones shifted back. In moments, it looked small again. Quiet. Calm. Like nothing had happened. Mara stood and looked at the fallen hunters. "You attacked a human under Alliance protection," she said. "You touched my partner." Her voice hardened. "That ends your hunt." Alliance security forces arrived at last. Heavily armed. Nervous. Confused. They stopped when they saw the scene. Broken hunters. Blood-stained stone. One calm human cadet standing beside a small pet. An officer stepped forward. "What happened here?" he demanded. Mara turned to him. "They tested a rumor," she said. "It failed." The officer looked at the hunters, then at the pet. "Is that animal registered?" he asked carefully. Mara nodded. "Combat bonded," she said. "Non-hostile unless threatened." The officer paused. "Humans are allowed such bonds?" he asked. Mara met his eyes. We do not send our young into the galaxy unprotected. The sirens faded. Medical teams rushed to the hunters. The crowd slowly returned, whispering in fear. Mara picked up her coffee cup one last time. It was still warm. She walked away, her pet walking quietly beside her. The plaza would never feel safe again. The plaza on Karen 9 did not return to normal. Not that day. Not ever. Security barriers were placed around the area. Alliance officials arrived from orbit. Medical ships took the injured hunters away under heavy guard. The incident spread fast. By nightfall, the video had reached every major Alliance network. A human cadet, a calm expression, a pet that was not a pet. The Alliance Council demanded answers. Mara Vance was called in for questioning. She stood alone in a clean white chamber. The walls were smooth. Cameras watched her from every angle. Across from her sat 5 Alliance officials, each from a different species. They studied her like a strange object. One counselor spoke first. "You showed no fear," he said. "What?" Mara answered simply. "There was no reason to be afraid." Another counselor leaned forward. "4 Vraxian hunters attacked you," she said. "They're known killers." Mara nodded. "Yes." "Then why no fear?" Mara thought for a moment. "Because they were not the danger," she said. The room fell silent. One counselor's eyes moved to the screen behind her, where a frozen image of the pet was displayed mid-attack. "That creature," he said carefully. "Explain it." Mara took a slow breath. "He is called Ash," she said. "He is my partner." "A weapon?" another counselor asked. Mara shook her head. "No." "A guard animal?" "No." "Then what?" Mara met their gaze. "Family." Some counselors shifted uncomfortably. She continued. "Humans do not fight alone," she said. "We never have." The council requested records. Human military data flooded the room. Combat-bonded animals. Engineered survival companions. Emotional and tactical links stronger than machines. The counselors watched in silence. "These are not tools," one whispered. "They are bonded minds." "Yes," Mara said. "We grow together. We protect each other." The Vraxian hunters were brought before the council next. They were broken, afraid, no longer proud. One hunter spoke through pain. "The human never raised a weapon," he said. "She never ran." Another whispered. "She drank coffee while we were dying." That sentence echoed across the Alliance. Fear spread. The council made a decision. They released a public statement. It was short, clear, direct. Humans are now classified as a high-resilient species. Human companions are to be treated as active defense units. Any hostile action against a human cadet will be considered an act of war. The galaxy reacted instantly. Some species pulled their students away from shared training. Others demanded to train with humans. The reputation of humanity changed overnight, not because of violence, but because of calm. Mara returned to her quarters later that day. Ash walked beside her, quiet and small again. She placed a fresh cup of coffee on her desk and sat down. Ash rested his head near her feet. "You did good," she said softly. Ash closed his eyes. Outside, ships moved across the sky. Some came closer to Earth for the first time. Others stayed far away. Weeks passed. Humans were no longer ignored. Alien cadets watched them carefully now. They noticed things they had missed before. Humans trained longer. Humans rested less. Humans laughed under pressure. And humans were never alone. One day, a young alien cadet approached Mara. He stopped several steps away, nervous. "Is it true," he asked, "that humans feel fear, but act anyway?" Mara smiled slightly. "Yes," she said. "And your partner," he added, looking at Ash. "He only fights when you're threatened?" "Yes." The cadet nodded slowly. "Then humans are dangerous," he said. Mara shook her head. "No," she replied. "We are responsible." The cadet did not fully understand, but he would. Far away, the Vraxian Hunter Guild changed its rules. Humans were removed from the prey list. A single line was added to their records. Do not test human calm. Do not touch what they protect. Back on Karen 9, the cafe reopened. Mara sat at the same table. Same place. Same time. Coffee in hand. Ash at her feet. Other cadets gave her space. Some bowed their heads. Some watched in silence. Mara did not notice. She sipped her coffee and looked up at the sky. Humanity had sent a message. Not with loud words, not with fleets, but with control. And the galaxy listened.